All right. It looks like we are live. I just want to make sure that everybody is in here and y'all can hear me. I know people were having a hard time hearing the music earlier, and I'm not sure why that is, but if y'all can let me know that you're here and if you can hear me okay. Uh oh. You can hear me, Lillian? Awesome. Somebody can hear me. That's awesome. You guys, some more people tell me your name, tell me where you're here from. Faye says, "I hear you loud and clear." Hey, Faye, how you doing? All right. I'm happy that you guys can hear me. I don't know why you guys couldn't hear the praise music, but I'll have to fix that next time, I guess. All right. So if you're new here, you're just joining, we are live here every Sunday afternoon at 2:30 Central Time. And we go live here at this link. If you got this link privately because you signed up, you did the right thing, because I'm going to be able to give you a really awesome 7-day flare protocol for free today, just for doing that. So I just want to thank you for being here. I really appreciate that. And we are also live on YouTube and several different Facebook channels right now as well. And then also we do the recording of this meeting so that we can get it out to everyone. And so, if for some reason you can't make it on a Sunday, just make sure and pop over to my YouTube channel. And my YouTube channel is super easy. I'll give you guys the link. It's Dorinda A. Smith MS. So I'm going to send that in the chat right now. All right. I know that it's working, Brenda, Marjorie. If you guys can't hear, it's something on your end. And so you need to either turn up and if you can't hear me, I don't know. Um, yeah, that's a little weird because other people can hear me. So that means that it's working fine on my end. And I'm just maybe while I'm giving the training, if anyone else in the chat wants to like answer Marjorie and Brenda in a chat message, and just let them know that they just need to turn it up on their end or they need to do something on their end in order to be able to hear me today. Okay, so let's see. I've got the YouTube set for you. I hope you guys are all having a great day today. My day started off with gardening this morning, and we're in a new home here in the Ozarks in Missouri. And so many of you know that I moved here from California with my whole family, in order to be on Christian television. There's a new program called Life TV Now. I'm going to go ahead and put that into the chat as well. And if you look up lifetvnow.com, it will take you to a website where you can see all of the different ministry programs from Skywatch TV. Skywatch TV are the producers of Life TV Now, and they invited me. Yeah, Lillian says she watches that all the time with Joe Artis Horn. Yeah, he's awesome. Him and his family have been in ministry for, oh my gosh, it's forever, like 30 years or something like that. And of course um when they make their money, a lot of that goes to their Christian charity called Whispering Ponies Ranch. And I want to make sure that I get that message out to everyone before I start my teaching today, because this is an amazing ministry for children who have been through some of the worst abuse that you could ever imagine. And so this is, it's free for the kids, and it's just a beautiful healing ministry. It's a beautiful camp, and they've got baby ponies and just all kinds of, wonderful animals there for the children. And so, I invite everyone to please go to Life TV Now, go to Skywatch TV, watch their programming. The Life TV Now is all about health. And I was invited to move here and be a medical expert on that show. So you can see my programs with them there. You can also see other programs with other great scientists and doctors there that we're just all sharing the message that right now in 2026 there really isn't any reason why you cannot feel better. Okay, unless you just want to sit there like a stick in the mud and not do anything for your health, now that's different. Okay, but if you're willing to learn some new things, if you're willing to do some new things, if you're willing to just learn more about the science that God has given us, and so you're going to love this, you guys, because today I want to get into some more of that science. Okay. Um, yeah, Cheryl is still saying she can't hear anything. It has to be on her end. So yeah, someone tell her to either turn it up or go out and come back in. Either way, sometimes that fixes things. All right. So let me go over to, I want to grab my notes real quick here so I don't forget to tell you anything. Because if you guys know me, if any of you guys here are current clients, if I start talking, I'm going to be here for 3 hours. And I don't want to do that today. What I really want to do is stay concise and just give you some really good information, some new science that has come out over the last few years, that really explains a lot about why our bodies get stuck in a place of sickness. Okay. So, as you probably saw in your little message, today we're talking about the cell danger response. And if you are currently feeling like you're stuck in a chronic illness of any kind, and when I say any kind, I really mean if you are stuck in prediabetes or diabetes, or having a problem with your thyroid, or having a problem with not being able to lose weight, the fatigue, the brain fog, if you have a diagnosed autoimmune disease, if you're suffering from any of the what we call the designer diagnoses that are out there today, like SIRS, like MCAS, POTS, dysautonomia. Um, there are so many different names for the chronic illnesses that we see, and you need to know that they all boil down to similar root causes. We know that they are all inflammatory diseases. Okay. Even heart disease, even Alzheimer's, even emotional health problems like anxiety and depression and OCD, and even really severe mental health issues like schizophrenia. They all boil down. The science is very clear. They are all inflammatory diseases. And scientifically, God has already given us most of the main root causes, at least everything that we can see today in 2026. We know how to reverse those things, and we know how to help people feel amazingly better. And the reason why I know this is because I am an autoimmune disease research scientist. If you don't know me, just call me Dory. I was that scientist that then got my own 7 autoimmune diseases, and I also had severe fibromyalgia thrown in as a bonus. I say that because you guys probably already know. If you're suffering from any kind of a widespread pain disease, like one of the first diagnoses that they will label you with is fibromyalgia. And yes, it is a real disease. Okay. Yeah. Um, but they label you and then they give you a bunch of pain medications and then they let you go, and they don't give you the the scientifically valid, the scientifically proven information that we have today. Doctors just don't give you this information. And that's why you need to be here. And that's why I would love it if you share this information with your friends and family. Right, help them to come in to our meetings. Let me make sure and give you the website. If you're just sharing information, the website to send to people to is risehealchallenge.com. Super easy. Risehealchallenge.com. And they can sign up for everything that we do here through that one link. It basically lets them come into this meeting here where you're at now, or if you're not, if you're watching this live on YouTube or Facebook and you just stumbled on this, make sure that you join our our little meeting here, because this is good stuff. This is where we're going to give you great information, because you are not stuck. So no matter what your doctor told you, if your doctor told you that you're just stuck in a chronic illness, you will have fibromyalgia for the rest of your life. Yeah, bull cookies. Sorry, you do not have to stay stuck in fibromyalgia for the rest of your life. Or, oh, you've been given a diagnosis of a thyroid condition or an autoimmune disease. No, I'm sorry. You do not need to stay on medication for these for the rest of your life. You can reverse your root causes. That's the science. That's God's science. Right? Because all good science that is true is God's science, right? And if you don't know more about us, you'll hear me talking about God and Jesus and the Lord a lot, because we are a dedicated Christian ministry here, and our goal is to help you to learn the science in a way that is affordable, in a way that you can actually understand this and you can change your life, and you can no longer be limited by what we know to be preventable and reversible chronic illnesses. You no longer need to stay stuck there. There are things you can do. And it's not just about changing your diet either. Okay. And so today I want to make sure that we teach you about the cell danger response. So let me grab my notes again here too. Okay. Um, the the cell danger response is a fairly new science. Now we've always, for maybe the last, oh, at least 20 years or so, we've known that autoimmune diseases, chronic illnesses, even mental health issues are due to an inflammatory response. And we started elucidating some of the root causes over the years. Okay. And now there's been some deeper studies done here. And we know now this is huge. Okay. So if your eyes are glazing over, I want you to stop and hear me say this right now. Okay. Are you ready? The cell danger response directly links to your mitochondrial health. Okay. Now, a lot of people who've been following me, or if you're, into your health stuff, and you know what the mitochondria are, but just in case you don't, they're tiny little cells within most of your cells, especially your muscle cells, your eye cells, your brain cells. They're everywhere throughout your body in all of your organs. And these are the cells that not only create your energy, okay, energy to do everything, okay, for your cells to function, for you to function, okay, for you to think right, for you to not have brain fog, all of these things, okay. Your mitochondria are responsible for that, for creating that energy. But here's what you need to know: your mitochondria are not just little cells that produce energy, they actually control whether you get a chronic disease or not. Okay. And you need to hear that. Okay. Mitochondria are now known to be very involved in the um, the rise of all various different manner of chronic illnesses, even cancer, even Alzheimer's disease, all. of the autoimmune diseases, the thyroid disease, okay, everything. Okay. You need to know that, yeah, the inflammatory response is directly related to your mitochondrial health. And your mitochondria are continually surveilling your environment and deciding whether something is danger, something that can harm you, or whether something is just normal, like it's just a normal piece of food that's just going to nourish you. Okay. And so I want you to understand that very important point, that it really does boil down to your mitochondrial health. Okay. So let me back up just a minute. And now that we know, um, that it is inflammatory, what you're feeling right now, you don't have to wonder whether it's inflammatory or not. Okay. And you guys, if you want to, I'm getting much better at being able to look at the chat while I'm giving these presentations. Thank you for giving me patience on that, because I am getting older, and so I'm allowed to be a little bit of like, not very techy, okay? So but I am getting better at being able to do this. So you guys, please feel free to put in the chat some of the main symptoms that you're feeling. If you want to tell us what your diagnoses are, you just want to ask questions, you can do that in the chat while I'm talking. Okay. All right. So I want you to know that your body was designed to heal. Your mitochondria, your immune system, everything. It was all designed, all your cells are created to heal you. Okay. They know how to heal you. They know how to run through an apoptosis process and kill themselves off and then recreate themselves in beautiful new ways. Your body knows how to do what we call cellular regeneration, which is just that process I just explained, where if there is a cell that has a toxin or is damaged in some way or is just not healthy, is getting older, your body knows how to kill that cell off and then reproduce another one. And your body does this at a rate of millions and millions and millions of cells every single day. So your body was created to heal, and your body was created to protect you. And that's where this cell danger response comes in. So I want you to just imagine, let's take it down to something really super simple. Okay. I want you to imagine you're just walking through the woods. You're doing your forest bathing because Dory said, "Oh, that's so healthy for your mitochondria." And then the next thing you know, a bear jumps out at you. Okay. Now, do you think in that moment you would be focused on healing, you know, or anything beautiful and calming or anything like that? Or do you think that you would be focused on surviving? Okay. And this is exactly what your body is doing. Okay. Obviously, if a bear is charging at you, you're going to be focused on surviving and surviving only. You're not going to be focused on healing. Okay. So everything in your body in that moment, as soon as you saw the bear, would instantly shift, your adrenaline, everything would instantly shift towards you being able to get away from that bear. Okay, your senses would be alert, your muscles would get stronger, you would be able to move faster. Okay, this is what happens, and people pretty much know that. Okay, your blood flow would change, your hormones would change. Okay, all of this. Now, the same thing is happening, and hear this, okay, because this is such a good example. The same thing is happening in your body for whatever reason, whatever the mitochondria or your immune system see as a danger, the same thing is happening. And this is proven science. I'm going to show you some papers on that in just a second. What's actually happening, even if you just decide that you're going to eat McDonald's, okay, there's so many dangerous things in that cheeseburger or in those fries, okay, that your mitochondria see right away. Literal poisons, right? And also a whole lot of lack of nutrition. Okay. So you're not getting everything your cells need by eating at the same time. You're dumping a lot of poisons into your body that are literally damaging your mitochondria. And so your mitochondria see that, and it could be anything. It could not just be a cheeseburger, okay? So it's not just about food, you guys. Okay? It could be you had an argument with someone you love. Okay. That's a danger signal. Okay. It could be you're living in a house and you're exposed to mold in that house on a daily basis, or you go to work and you're exposed to mold, or your kids are exposed at their school. Okay. It could be just because of the food that you've eaten all your life from our normal grocery stores, that you're overloaded with a lot of pesticides and herbicides, glyphosate, things like that. For any number of reasons. Okay. Your body is seeing that danger signal and it's directly acting at the mitochondria, which is why, oh my gosh, if it breaks my heart that people don't know this information, because fixing your health at the mitochondrial level is not that hard if we can just teach you how to do it. If we can help your body to stop seeing the danger signals, number one, okay, and then help you to do the right things so that your mitochondria are no longer freaking out and creating all these danger signals. Okay, so I hope that that is starting to make sense to you. Okay. This is your mitochondria, and then your immune system being extremely intelligent. It's the way God created you. Okay. I want to show you some science on this, so you know that it's not just me just, right, just teaching you things that are not true. Okay. I'm going to, as I show you these on the screen, first I need to share my screen, and I need to make sure, boom, share. Okay. All right. As I do that, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to grab the links while I'm talking. Let's see if I can do this and make sure you guys can get this information. And I'm going to put these different links. You guys can copy and paste up into your browser so you can look at these later and you can actually see that what I am telling you is the truth. This is real science. This is what's actually happening inside your body whenever your body is seeing, what we would call a root cause, a danger, something that's actually causing inflammation and disease in your body. So here's one of the first papers that elucidated the cell danger response and how it's working, how it's actually working at the mitochondrial level. And then the mitochondria are literally sending out signals. They're called DAMP signals. Okay, DAMP. I'm going to put that in here so that you guys can see while I'm talking. They're called damage associated molecular patterns. Okay. And you guys, when you read papers like this, okay, just read the abstract. You don't have to be a scientist and get all geeky into the details. Okay. Read the abstract, which is in the very beginning. And if you go to the end of the paper, you'll see the conclusions. Okay. And that's where it really talks about what the scientists are finding in this particular research study and what they're hypothesizing or what they're learning, some beautiful truth that they're learning from doing that study. Okay. And so that's the first paper that I want to show you. This was one of the first papers by Robert Naveau. And I think I'm saying his name right. I hope I am. He was one of the first scientists to talk about the specific what's exactly happening at the mitochondrial level when your cells see something that they don't like. Okay. Now I've got another paper to show you. And in order to do that, I have to stop the share and then I have to share again like that. There we go. Okay. This was a paper in 2020 and it was in Mitochondrion. Okay. A very respected scientific journal all about the mitochondria. And it's talking very specifically about the cell danger response biology. And they're calling it, look what they're calling it. They're calling it the new science that connects environmental health with the mitochondria and the rising tide of chronic illness. Okay, so folks, listen up. Scientists like me who are telling you about this, we're not going against your doctor, okay? It's just that your doctor hasn't read these papers and they're too busy, okay? And that's why they're not telling you about this information. So we can't really blame your doctor. He or she is trained under a completely different paradigm. Okay. They're taught to just diagnose, give you a pill, and send you on your way in 10 minutes. And that's all the insurance company will let them do. Okay. And when you work with a scientist that is trained in holistic care, that is licensed in holistic care, right? When you work with people like us, and I'm not the only one, okay? There's lots of us out there. But when you work with us, we're actually going to use the latest science in order to help you heal. Okay? It's a far cry better than what your doctor is doing, just working in, the broken insurance model, the broken big pharma model. Okay. The big pharma literally is not helping you, you guys. It's just helping symptoms temporarily, but it's actually making some of those cell danger signals worse. Some of those medications, a lot of those medications, they're actually causing several downstream side effects. And you already know that, right? I'm not telling you anything new here. Okay. Let me show you a new paper. I have to like tilt my head in order to see where the papers are. Okay. All right. Let me stop this and let me share another one. I'm going to answer that question about Medicare in just a moment. Okay. Okay. Here is another paper. Extracellular ATP is a danger signal activating P2X7 receptor in lung inflammation and fibrosis. Now, I know that not everybody listening here has lung inflammation and fibrosis, okay? But what I need you to understand is it doesn't matter what the disease process is, it doesn't matter what the symptom is. Inflammation is inflammation. Where it hits you is just different depending on your root causes and your genetics. Okay. And what I want you to know about this particular paper in very specifically about this particular paper is it was one of the first papers that actually proved that Robert Naveau was correct. So just because one school or, one scientific researcher, one scientist decides that, you know, they've proven something true does not really mean that they've proven something true until you can actually see it in other studies from other people, from other researchers, other schools. Okay. And so this was one of the first papers coming out that was saying that we knew something was going on there, right? We knew it was real. Okay. And then again, we're moving on to Robert Naveau actually being able to elucidate what's happening at the cellular level, at the mitochondrial level. Okay. And so then let me show you another paper here. And oops, I need to make sure it's share it with you so that you can see it.
Power it off.
There we go. Okay. I'm going to put this also into, so you guys can grab this and you can read that paper. Okay. All right. So this one here, I hope you guys can see that. Getting into the role of specific nucleotides and how the cells are actually at the genetic level telling the cells when they see a danger signal in any chronic inflammatory disease, really, right? They're actually telling the cells to kill themselves. Okay. And that's important. You want cells that are damaged to be able to kill themselves. If they hang around and they don't kill themselves, then you've got another problem, and that can lead to cancers, right? And so you really do, you want the cells to be able to get rid of bad cells. Okay. The problem is that if your cells are constantly seeing danger signals, they're seeing it from your food, they're seeing it from your environment, they're seeing it because you're exposed to mold, or they're seeing it because you're exposed to other chemicals, or they're seeing it because you're exposed to some other chronic illness and your immune system can't get control over it, or they're seeing it because you're just not eating according to your own personal genetics, and therefore your cells aren't getting everything they need, so they can't function. Um, or they're seeing it, just because of your own thoughts, because you're stuck in a pattern of not feeling well. And so you're stuck in a pattern of anxiety and depression, right? Because of that. So, all of these things are danger signals to your mitochondria. Okay. And they're telling your mitochondria that we need to keep producing inflammation. We need to keep allocating that energy. Remember what I said in the beginning? How your body is continually seeing a bear. It's like every single day, 25 times a day or more, your body is continually seeing a bear. And if your body is continually seeing a bear, how are you supposed to switch over into healing? You can't. And that's what these papers are telling us. Okay. Let me stop this one, and I've got another one here. Let's see this one, and let me share here. Go here. Okay. So, this is one of the main papers that is explaining this whole DAMP, which is the damage associated molecular pattern, right? That cell danger signal. Okay. And how it's literally creating the chronic inflammation that we see in all chronic diseases. Okay. And so I'm going to grab that. I'm going to put it into the chat for you guys. And so, and remember, you guys can just grab these and just put them up into your browser, copy them up into, a new window. And then that way later you can come back and you can read some of those papers, so you can see that I really am giving you God's truth here about the science. And so you need to know that when looking at these studies, and let me make sure that I stopped yeah, there we go. You need to know that when you're looking at these studies, what scientists now know is we know what's happening. We know why you feel like crap. Okay. We know that there are multiple different danger signals that are, what we would call poisons, right? Things that are upsetting your mitochondria, things that are not supposed to be in your body, right? You're not supposed to be controlled by negative thoughts. You're not supposed to be stuck in a place of anxiety and depression. You're not supposed to be continually exposed to things like pesticides and herbicides and glyphosates and dyes and various different food additives that's all throughout your grocery store. You're not supposed to be continually exposed to these things. You're not supposed to be continually exposed to mold. You're not supposed to be continually exposed to Epstein-Barr virus or a COVID virus or a Lyme disease. You're, being bitten by a tick, right? You're not supposed to be continually exposed to these things. But if you are, this is telling your mitochondria that there is danger, that there is a bear, and therefore, your mitochondria is allocating energy towards running from that bear and just surviving, right? Your mitochondria is in that state. Your mitochondria is not allocating energy, at least not very much of it, to you actually healing. And that's why you're stuck in this. It's another reason also why a lot of people with chronic illness will say, well, I have good days and bad days. And don't you feel that way? Right? You have good days and bad days. And then you have really bad days where you go through what you would call a flare, where it's really bad and it lasts for a while. It lasts for a week or 2 weeks or 3 weeks or longer. And then you slowly start pulling out of it again. Okay. These are times when you are even more exposed, right? For a lot of different reasons. And I don't have time to get into all those reasons today. Um, but where I want to leave you today is with some hope, okay? That you can start changing the way your mitochondria view things, okay? Now, if you're continually eating a McDonald's cheeseburger and you're doing it all the time and you're running for that ice cream and you're running for that Snickers bar, you're grabbing the Cheetos, okay? If you're always doing that, you will always have a cell danger response reaction going on in your body because there honestly isn't any way, there isn't any medication, there isn't any, you know, anything, even things like prednisone or, immunomodulatory drugs that we have now, okay? They're just telling your immune system not to react to the danger as much, and that's why you can feel a little better on those drugs. But trust me, your mitochondria are still dying from being exposed to those things. And the more your mitochondria die off and get sick, the worse your illness is going to get, whether you're on the prednisone or you're on whatever the medication is that the doctor gave you for your autoimmune disease, your methotrexate, or you're on your GLP-1 or you're on whatever you are to help to control your diabetes, okay? Or you're on the medication to help with your thyroid condition. Trust me, the cell danger response is still happening in the background 24/7 until you do something about those root causes. And yeah, it does start with making sure that you're not purposely overexposing yourself and causing your mitochondria to say, ah, there's a bear, 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 there's a bear. And I hope that I was able to explain that today in a way that you guys can really understand. It does start with your food, but there's way more to it than that. And so, what we've put together here for you is we have put together a couple of different ways for you to get started working on your health. Okay. And of course, we're going to start at the mitochondrial level because that's the most important thing, right? That's what all the science points to, that no matter what your chronic illness is, we do have to start at the mitochondrial level. Okay. And so we've put together a really nice program for you. It's called our Energy Regeneration Protocol. And you can get that whole protocol. There's several hours of video training plus a book, a companion book that goes with it that I created called Why You're Still Sick, and also a full protocol that you can use. And you can do that whole thing for just 27 bucks, you guys. Okay. And that also gets you into our Rise and Heal challenge. We run that challenge for 3 days, about every 6 weeks or so, depending on how busy we are. And I want to grab that link for you so that if you're interested in getting that protocol and actually getting started on your own with just learning what you need to do in order to correct your mitochondrial health, I want to go ahead and give you that registration link in the chat right now. And then I'm going to answer questions. I promise. I promise. I promise. Okay. Now let me make sure that that came through. Mhm. No. Try it again. No, it was the wrong one. Hold on just a second. It didn't copy correctly. Thanks for being patient with me. Okay, copy it again. Copy it and then put it in the chat. There we go. Okay. Okay. So this link right here that I put in the chat, that gives you a ticket to our 3-day Rise and Heal challenge. It also gives you the full energy regeneration protocol. Let me make sure that it continues to show on the stream there. There we go. It helps you to get started learning basically the 10 mistakes that people are just critically making every single day that are really causing that cell danger signal to happen. Okay, causing your mitochondria to say there's a bear, there's a bear, there's a bear, and therefore it's just impossible to heal under those conditions. So we've got to start telling your mitochondria that things are safe, that you're back on that beautiful trail and you're just forest bathing, you're just walking, you're just enjoying your life, you're just happy to be here and be a child of God and be loving people, right? And be living in the present, living in just saying yes to the Lord and whatever He wants you to do today, and loving Him and loving others, right? Being in that beautiful, safe place. All right. So, yeah, it involves things that you're doing, things that you're eating, things that you're exposed to, things that the way you're living your lifestyle. This is an entire protocol for you to be able to follow. And, even when people come to work with me privately here, we always start them on this protocol first. And I don't want to keep working with people if they're not following that protocol because it's so important. And of course, none of us are perfect. All of us are going to fall down and need a potato chip once in a while. And that's okay. We don't have to be perfect with the way we're eating, but if we're continually sending the signals that the bear is there, we've got to learn how to turn down those signals. Okay? We've got to learn how to take better care of our mitochondrial health. Okay? And so that's 27 bucks. It's super cheap. We do that on purpose to make sure that anybody can get the help they need. Anyone can follow that protocol on their own. You don't need to buy anything else. There are some supplements with that protocol, but you don't even have to buy them. Okay, you can just get started on the other the food and the lifestyle and all the rest of the training, right? And it will do an awesome job for you. I want to show you guys that when you do that, you're going to be put into our full script Oops, wait a minute. I'm not sharing my screen. So, of course, you can't see that. There we go. Now I'm sharing my screen. So, when you come into on any paid level here, we want to give you some different protocols that you can use, right? I am going to give you this 7-day fast flare repair protocol at the end of our meeting today. That's something free that I always give out because I want everyone to know that there is a way to help your flare to go away. Okay. There really is. And it really does work if you do it. Okay. Um, and then this ultimate mito regeneration protocol for energy, that's the one that I'm talking about right now. You really need that protocol. You need to be following it. Every single person does. You need to teach it to your kids. You need to teach it to your family members. Okay. This is the newest science in how to take care of your mitochondria and how to reverse chronic illness, but also how to prevent chronic illness and cancers and Alzheimer's moving forward as you age. So it is extremely important. I cannot say it enough. You need to be following a protocol like this. And here we make it super, super easy for you to do that. Okay. Now, the next thing that I have for you. A lot of people are like, yeah, yeah, yeah. I've already worked with a functional doctor. I already know a lot about mitochondrial health. Sure, I want that protocol because I want to make sure I'm doing everything right. But at the same time, I need more help. I really want to learn about my root causes. I really want someone to sit down with me, be my medical detective, look over my previous labs, look over my health history, tell me what those root causes are, help me if I'm missing any testing that needs to be done in order to know what those root causes are, and then be able to have a plan of action in order to help you to heal. We also we're a one-stop shop here at the Cellular Healing and Longevity Center. We basically do it all. If it's available scientifically, we can do it for you here. Okay. And so I want to put another link and make sure that I copy it correctly there and put this into the chat for you. Okay. Okay. Here is another link to our energy regeneration program. So if you feel like, yeah, I want the protocol, yes, I want to do it, but I want to do it with help. I want to make sure that I get a root cause analysis. I want to make sure that I know what my root causes are. I have a plan of action moving forward. I know what tests I need, and you just want to get personal and specific, and you know that you need some help, we have that program that we created that anyone can do. This is our first level program. This is not our only program. This is our first level program that we do with people, just to help you to get started on your healthy lifestyle plan, to help you understand your root causes, to help you have that plan of action so you're no longer sitting in a place of confusion anymore. And we offer this here for just $77 a month. And there's no commitment or long term thing going on. It's you can come for a month, learn a bunch of stuff and leave if you want to. Right? Get the protocol, get the program, and then leave if you want to. Or you can come, and what most people do is they come and they stay, for at least 3 to 6 months so that you can really get some one-on-one help. You get your questions answered in our program. You're just not alone doing this anymore. And it's just a much better way to learn how to take care of your health. And this is our first level program here. And trust me, you will feel better if you do what we tell you you need to do and you learn how to do it. Even if you're not perfect at it, you will still notice that your body starts responding because your body wants to heal. Your body does not want to stay stuck, always seeing a bear, right? Your body wants to walk on that beautiful just, that beautiful green path where, yeah, life is better, right? And you want to be in that place where life is better, right? And I know I was stuck there for 15 years in that really awful place where it was always a bear attacking. Okay. And you just don't have to stay there anymore. Okay. And so that's what we have to offer you in order to help you take your next step forward. And you can do either one. And also, by the way, if you join that $77 a month program, you automatically get the free ticket to the Rise and Heal Challenge. And of course, you get the full protocol and everything that comes with that too. Okay. So it's just up to you, whatever you would like to do. So now what I'd like to do is I'd like to take a little time and I'd like to walk through and answer questions. So I'll back up in the chat a little bit and see what those questions are. And then if there's new questions, you guys can go ahead and type them into the chat. I think what I've learned is that most people prefer to do it that way rather than coming on camera with me. And so I'm just going to go ahead and answer questions in the chat for you guys today. Okay. Yeah, don't forget, you guys, go to lifetv.com. I know I said that in the beginning, but while I'm looking for these questions, I want to make sure that you know to go there. You can watch. I've got 2 episodes there. We've got another one coming out in about another month or so. And it's not just me. There's just wonderful doctors and scientists there who are saying all the same things that I'm saying, right? Just teaching you everything that you need to learn about how to take better care of your health. And really the whole goal here, you guys, the whole goal of that program, the whole goal of me being here with you on a Sunday afternoon and doing the work that we do here, the whole goal is to help you to be everything that God created you to be. You were not designed to just suffer in this, okay? If there's things that God has given us that you can do, then we need to teach you how to do them so that you're no longer stuck, okay? All right. So let me go back over here and see what we got here. Okay. So Brenda is asking, is there anyone that will take Medicare? Oh, this is one of those questions. That's why I said I'm gonna answer it in a little bit because it's a little bit of a long answer. Wow, there's a little spider on my camera. He's just like a little baby spider. Oh my gosh. Sorry. Squirrel. I just got distracted by a spider. That's hilarious. Okay, so Medicare. Ugh. Yes, there are integrative doctors who are learning how to do precision healthcare. Now, they're not all the way up to speed on it, most of them, trust me, because we have lots of clients. We're kind of considered like the last stop shop, right? We're like the last resort when people have already been to, how many other doctors, how many other specialists. And even a lot of our clients who come to us and who do get results, by the way, a lot of our clients were originally with someone like an integrative practitioner who they're doctors and they're learning more about functional and precision healthcare, but they don't know everything. They haven't had a chance to learn everything. They're way too busy. Trust me, right? They're way too busy to do that. They haven't focused for 10 years on precision healthcare. Okay. And so they are still allowed to run some tests through Medicare. And some of those are advanced testing, like one of the testing companies that we work with as well is called Genova Diagnostics. And you can, through Genova, run testing, however, with Medicare. Okay. However, let me tell you how it actually works in the real world. And this is why we used to do it. We don't do it anymore. And let me tell you why. Okay. Because what happens to people is they will be told by Medicare that, yes, we cover Genova testing. Okay. Perfect. You think everything is hunky dory. You think it's all going to be covered, all these advanced testing, you're going to get all your root causes, and it's all going to be covered by Medicare and it's going to be essentially free. Okay. What happens a lot of times is they will come back a couple of months later. The insurance company, Medicare, will come back a couple of months later and they will tell you that now they've denied your claim. Okay. So then you have to deal with the stress of that. Okay. But here's the worst part of it. When the lab companies run anything through Medicare or any of the other insurance companies, by the way, there's a couple of, if you have really, really expensive Blue Cross Blue Shield insurance, they might cover through Genova as well. But when I say might, I mean might. Okay. In the history, 10 years of me doing this work in our clinic, I have seen 3 people get approved. 3. Okay. 3. Out of all the people who tried in the first years when we were doing this. And we really worked like this for like 5 years. Okay. 3 were actually paid. Okay. Um, so what happens is, I didn't tell you the worst part, is when the insurance companies or the labs charge the insurance company about 4 times the normal cash price. Now, this is a racket, you guys. Okay. This is a racket. When the labs are dealing with the insurance company, I mean, yeah, when the labs are dealing with the insurance company, they charge the insurance company about 4 times of what you would pay if you just paid the cash price. Okay. So no big deal, right? If the insurance company is paying for it and they've got all the money, they've got the fountains in front of their buildings. Okay. But what if the insurance company then turns around and says, after you've already done the testing, after you've already sent your samples in, you've already got your results. You're all happy. You know your root causes. You're so thankful. And then all of a sudden you get that letter that says, sorry, we decided not to cover it. Now, guess what? Now the lab is going to charge you that 4-time amount instead of the cash price, just because you decided to try to run it through your insurance company. And trust me, there isn't any way of getting out of that unless you argue and fight and argue and fight and argue and fight. And guess what that does? That causes you to have the cell danger signal because now you're all stressed out because of the labs. And that's why we stopped doing it. We just said, no, we're not going to participate in that whole just absolutely corrupted insurance system. Even if there are some advanced functional medicine labs that do, we're not going to. If someone needs a Genova test, we're going to quote you the wholesale price and we're going to help you with the with the consult, right? You'll pay for the consult, you'll pay for the wholesale price, and boom, it's easy, it's done. You're never going to have that shock surprise come back to you. Okay. Um, Now, I will tell you also another little story, Brenda, and for anyone else, um, that when I first started healing, I was so broke. Okay. I was so broke. I had been living on Social Security disability at about $1,300 a month plus some food stamps for me and my granddaughter when I was sick because I had been sick for like 15 years. Okay. By that time, I had already run through all of my savings from being a scientist and all of that. Okay. It was long gone by that point. Okay. And I was really broke. And the first doctor that helped me was an integrative practitioner. He did run some testing, some advanced testing. We were able to find that there were some invisible infection problems going on in my body. That was one of my many, many, many root causes. But he was not able to do all of the cellular deficiency testing. He was not able to do the genetics testing that I needed. He was not able to do all of the tox testing that I needed. He was only able to do part of it. And so he did part of it. Um, And this doctor in particular did not help me with a nutrition plan, did not help me with anything about my mitochondria or a cell danger response, or he did not didn't help me with any of my genetic predispositions, which are correctable, by the way, you guys. You need to know that they're correctable. You're not just stuck with your genetics either. And he was not able to help me with any of those things. And so the first 14 months or so, what he did was he just basically put me on a really hardcore detox program. And I want to tell you, my body was not prepared for that. I did not, my cells didn't have everything they need. I was not eating or living according to the way I should have been, right? No one taught me these things. This was back, way back before I learned everything that I know now. And wow, what a mess. Okay. I want to tell you that I suffered. Now, I still got results. Okay. I was still able to detox, but I would never put a client of mine through that hell that I had to go through. Okay. It was the wrong way to do it. It was the only way this guy knew how. And it was old school information. It was just go for the kill, go for the kill, go for the kill. And I really suffered, not just physically, but emotionally. Okay. I suffered for a good 14 months before I really was able to switch to another doctor who was way more trained in functional medicine and was able to help me more. And it still took me about 2 years to heal, but I was able to reverse all 7 of my autoimmune diseases and my fibromyalgia. And to this day, it's been 10 years and I no longer have any of those symptoms, except I get like a little bit of some gut stuff going on if I eat really bad foods, foods that I know I should never be touching. Okay. But once in a while, you're going to have some fun, you know? I mean, I like to have a margarita once in a while, don't you? You know, and even though that's like the worst food for me with my particular genetics and my background having autoimmune disease, um, okay, once in a while, I want a really bad Mexican meal and I want a margarita, you know? I only have 1, by the way. If I have 2, I'm dancing on the table, so I cannot have 2. I just know I can't. I get sick. Like, I can't do it. Um, anyway anyway, I hope that that kind of helps you guys to understand the reality of the situation. You really do need to, even if you have to just do it like I did once I switched over to a different doctor, then I had to like pay for my tests like one at a time, right? Because there were more tests that needed to be done. I had to get help. I had to, you know what I mean? And now they have medical funding, which is really nice. So medical funding credit cards are now available that give you 0% interest, and they really help. Like, I wish we had something like that when I was healing 10 years ago, but they hadn't, at least I didn't know about them back then. I didn't even learn about them for my own clients till about 5 years ago. So yeah, those are available now, and there's more ways that people can help. And the truth is that the advanced testing that you need is not that expensive, because if you can afford your iPhone, or you can afford some new clothes here and there, or you can afford to pay for some of those fast food meals, okay, if you can afford that, then you can definitely afford to get a test every few months and help yourself to get better, right? So I don't want anyone to get, because that's a major way in our business that Satan gets into the middle of this and says, oh, well, it's functional medicine, it's only for the rich. That's a lie from the pit of hell. Oh, it's functional medicine, it's way too expensive, I could never afford it. No, that's a lie from the pit of hell too. Now there are a lot of stories out there of people who have spent, 20, 30, 40,000, $50,000 on functional medicine and still feel sick. Okay. Sure. There are stories like that. Okay. And I believe that. Okay. Our clients here, that's not the case. Okay. So you just need to know that we are a Christian ministry, and God has put me in this position to teach you and to help you, me and my team here. And we're doing everything we can at a cost that hopefully most people can afford, unless you're living in a tent under a bridge somewhere. Okay. You can do this. You really can. You really can. Okay. All right. So let me see what else we've got here. I know I get a little long winded, especially when I answer questions, but I just want you guys to have all the information. Oh, excellent. Good question, Brenda. What labs do we need to have done? The only way that you're going to know what labs you need is by sitting down with someone and letting us look at your medical history and letting us look at your previous labs. Let us get the clues so that you don't just go out and, well, I want to get an invisible infections test and I want a tox test and I want a this test and I want a that test and I right. Okay, that's how people wind up spending literally many, many, many thousands of dollars on testing that you probably don't need, that most of it is just diagnostic, it's expensive, it's not what you need to really get to that bottom line of your root causes, right? What are those bears? What are those big bears? Not just a little baby cub coming at you, okay? Because, you could probably handle that little baby cub, all right? But these are not diagnostic tests. These are tests that actually look at what your big bears are, okay? And once we find out what those things are, then we can help you to get rid of the bear. Okay. That's what you need to know. But there isn't any way that I could say to you, well, no, okay, let me back that up because there kind of is. In the Rise and Heal Challenge, we talk about a lot of the different symptoms and a lot of the different tests that we would choose when people have these particular symptoms and why. And so we do go into some deeper training there in the Rise Heal Challenge, but still, that's still just information, right? It's just information. Once you sit down, and that's why we really love you guys to come into that $77 a month program, even if you only do it for a short time, because that gives us the opportunity. It's just a little bit of money, but it at least gives us the opportunity to sit down with you and to go over your medical history, go over your previous labs, even if you've been to another functional doctor before and you've had some advanced testing done, right? We want to be able to see all that. And we want to use the gifts that God gave us as medical detectives to be able to determine what would be the best next test for you, right? And what would be the lowest cost way of helping you to move forward and get your health to a better place so you can at least feel a little bit better, right? Even if you have to do it like me. Now, some people, they've got plenty of money. They can just drop a couple of $1,000s on testing right up front. Okay. Well, but a lot of people can't. A lot of people can't. Right. And again, that's why there's medical funding, and that helps too if people want to do a whole lot of testing at once. And not everybody needs that much testing. Okay. Not everybody needs it. It really depends on the person. I'm just giving you like hard case, worst case scenario, right? Sometimes the testing can get really expensive. And some people can do that, some people cannot. But, that's why I tell you guys, even if you're that person like me that was super broke when I first started, you can still do one test at a time. Work on the bear that you find or the bears that you find in that particular test, right? Get that work done for a few months and save a little money. And then, okay, what's the next test that you need? Where are you at now? What are your symptoms now? Where are you? Let's move on to the next one, right? And this is how people get well. So please don't let Satan lie to you and tell you that money is going to be the barrier between you being able to heal or not, because that's just another fear. It's just another lie that he uses to keep you stuck and keep you limited when God did not create you for that, right? And honestly, like when I say that, some people might say, oh, well, What about Paul? Paul was, had a thorn in his side and God didn't answer it, that prayer to heal him from that one particular whatever illness or whatever it was that he was dealing with, right? Yeah, yeah. We still are under God's sovereignty, right? But I will tell you that what I see on a day to day basis with clients is that there is so much more that people need to be doing to help their health that they just don't even know. They don't know what they don't know. They don't know the science. And they've, of course, been told by their doctor that all they can do is just live on their big pharma. Okay. And so they're stuck in that corrupted paradigm, and even though there's so much new evidence out now, people are still stuck in that old paradigm. Satan just keeps them stuck right there, right there. Okay. And what I'm called to do, and scientists and doctors like me, and even people like RFK Jr., and there's a lot of great people that are changing things for us for our health now. What we're called to do is just basically show you that there is a better way, that you can do way more for your health. You can feel better and you can reverse a lot of things. Am I going to make you 100% healthy in a month? No. No. Because you've probably been suffering with this for a long time, and you're going to have to learn how to make some changes and do some things differently. And your body needs time to heal. It took me 2 years to heal. And another year after that, I could see myself still continuing to heal. I could see myself changing. I was no longer that very, very sick woman who couldn't get up off the couch and who went into 2-week flares and who was over 100 pounds overweight. And, I had to be that woman in the scooter in Walmart. Okay. You guys don't have to be there. You really don't. Okay. So, yeah. So come work with us, Brenda, and let us just go over that with you. Okay. And then you'll know exactly what tests you need. Okay. Let's see. I learned labs on. I'm trying to understand this question. Give me just a second here. I learned labs. What insurance pays for testing? Only a few tests outside the contracted labs. Oh yeah, I think I know what you're saying. That yeah, a lot of the advanced precision testing that really gets to that deepest root cause level so we can truly help people. A lot of that testing is definitely not offered by most insurance companies, right? And there are things that you can pay for just outright, like Function Labs is another one that we really like, although even though it's not the deepest level of advanced testing, it's still a nice, I would say, a nice interim jump if you haven't had a lot of lab testing, or you don't really have a good doctor, and you want a complete diagnostic, right? And you want all the blood, the lipid panels, all of the higher level panels. They're still not the deepest root cause, but you can do that through Function Health. I think it's, hold on, let me grab it for you guys in case somebody wants to do that. I just need to get the right website for you. Functionhealth.com. Okay. This is Dr. Mark Hyman's baby. And he put this together for people who, you just want to get a really good panel done. You don't want to trust your doctor to throw some stuff together for you. You really want a really good comprehensive panel. Now, this is not my testing or anything. Now, I can do it for you, and I can read it for you, right? But you guys can do a panel like this on your own, and I'm putting that in there too. If you just want a really good broad spectrum, really comprehensive, way more comprehensive than what your doctor would do. I think Mark charges, and you guys know who Mark Hyman is, right? If you don't, look him up. Okay. He's like, the top dog of all the top dog functional medicine doctors. Um, he put this together for people that would be like lower cost. I think he charges about 350 or $400 for this, but it gives you two tests, one now and then one within a year, right? And it's not the deepest root causes, though, just so you know. It's not going to go into all the toxins. It's not going to go into all the genetics. It's not going to go into all the cellular deficiencies, but it does do a really good job of getting a head start on things. It does go into some of the micronutrients. It does go into some of the problems that could be available. Like, it doesn't have all the heavy metals, it doesn't have all the molds, it doesn't have all of that. But it does do a really good job of getting people started and on their way. And that's why he created it, even though it's not everything that a person might possibly need. Right. And you really do need to work with a professional to help you do that, of course. Right. But it is a really nice place to start. And then um, they offer like a half-hour session to go over it with you. It's very fast and basic, by the way. It's very fast and basic. And so you can always order a test like that and bring it to us, and, you know, we'll include it in your program that you do here with us, right? So that's a nice place to start, and especially if people are really really broke, right? It does at least give us some of those bears. Maybe some of them are little baby bears, okay? But at least if you know that there's a baby bear, then a professional like me can look at what's happening on a function health test, and we could go, I'll bet you any amount of money that that big mama bear is this thing over here, right? And then we can start planning a protocol for you that's more personalized. It's based on that. You see what I'm saying? So I hope that that helps you. Okay. Okay. All right. Yeah. That is really true. Most doctors do not even know that these advanced tests for specific root causes even exist. Okay. They've never used them, they've never seen them. So, this happens with our clients pretty regularly, where they will get some of our advanced testing and they'll take it back to their doctor, and their doctor's like, what the heck is this? Like, their doctor just doesn't have a clue even how to read these tests, right? But I will tell you, there's a lot of great doctors out there that if clients take some of these advanced tests back to the doctor's calling me, right? Or the doctor's at least telling the client, hey, this is awesome. Where'd you get this done? I want to learn more about it. Right. And so here at the Cellular Healing and Longevity Center, we have two different sides of our ministry here. We have a side that takes care of the client, right? And, we've got everything that any client would need for chronic illness and autoimmune disease. And then on the other side, we've got the training and the mentorship for doctors and nurses and even health coaches who, are excited to learn about the science, are excited to be able to help their patients more, which is what they really can do with the science that we have available today. It's just that they were definitely not taught it in medical school at all, you guys, at all. So it's not their fault. They're in a pretty crappy system. Okay. And so we don't blame our doctors. We just, we here's how you do it. Okay, here's how you do it. You go work with someone that knows what they're doing according to the newest science, a place like ours, right? But there's lots of them out there to choose from. I'm not the only one. Okay. You go and you work with someone like us, then you take it back to your doctor, then the doctor is learning. See, right? And there's been plenty of doctors who've come to us because of that, and then we can teach them. So isn't this a beautiful thing to be able to get the information into the hands of the people so that the doctors can learn more? And that's a really big part of the growth of our ministry right now. It's actually the biggest part of the growth of our ministry, because God told me a year ago that that part of our ministry has to grow, because there's just no way that me and my small team here can take care of all the people who need the help. And there are so many doctors out there, even ones that have come through some what we would call pretty good training. Um, Maybe they need more practice, they need more mentorship in how to do this, right? They're still so new at it. We see a lot of that out there. A lot of doctors who are learning about functional medicine are still just so new at it, and they are still just focusing on going for the kill, or they're focusing on just gut health or just nutrition. And most of the time, I see even good doctors completely missing very obvious tests that I know people need, very obvious root causes, very obvious bears. And I'm like, how are they missing this? Like, why are they missing this? And after seeing that for so many years, God basically told me, no, you need to be training the doctors, right? Because for whatever reason, me being a scientist and me being one of those people who really gets this, right? And there's a bunch of us. It's not just me, right? Um, we need to be in a place of teaching the doctors and the nurse practitioners and the health coaches so that so that we no longer have a problem with you running from doctor to doctor to doctor to doctor to doctor and nobody knows how to help you, or all they're doing is just giving you pharmaceuticals, or even if they're doing functional medicine, they're just not doing it right. They're not doing it in the right order. They're not, they're not starting with your mitochondrial health and your genetics and your cellular deficiencies and then moving into the kill if you need it, or then moving into the detox if you need it, right? Um, they're totally missing that. They're totally missing that. And it's kind of the Wild West out there. So just giving you the back end. This is what we talk about during during our professional meetings, right? This is what we talk about. So, all right. Yeah, they're not taught in medical school. Yeah. Yeah, that is true. The doctors have been programmed to think the way medical schools need them to think. This is true. I was programmed that way in school as well. Um, but also I think that it's just a big mess of a system. There's so many good people in it that really want to help others, and that's the whole reason why we get into medicine in the first place. But if we're stuck in this paradigm that is only using like big pharma funded science instead of all the science that's available. Okay, that's a problem, and it's a big problem in medicine. Oh my gosh, you guys, there's so much. It's really a mess. But here I want to bring this back because I know everybody always, kind of gets stuck on the negative and the controversy of how bad our medical system is, how bad our food system is. And, right, we tend to get stuck in that negative place. And so, what I always want to bring this back to you for bring this back to the place of positivity where you literally can just work with a good center like ours, right? And then you can learn what you need to learn. You can bypass the grocery store, okay? You can bypass big ag, you can bypass big pharma, you can bypass big medicine, you can bypass all of that. And I'm not saying you completely get rid of it, okay? Because it serves its purpose for, certain things, okay? I'm not against all big pharma. I'm not against all medicine, right? Not at all. Not at all. I am an immunotoxicologist, right? But I am my eyes are wide open to the rest of the science that's out there in the world. And of course, God has healed me and he has showed me how to heal others, right? And, the science is real, guys. That's why we have JFK fighting for things right now because the science is very real. And so we're in this new age. We call it the evolution of medicine. There's actually a name for it that most people don't even know, and we're learning about the bears. We're learning about the cell danger response. We're learning that everything boils down to inflammation, that we shouldn't just be treating people by their kidney disease or their lung disease or their mental health issue over here or their gastrointestinal problem over there. That really that we are holistic beings. Right, and that the body functions as a whole together, right? That literally your thoughts control your genetics, that control your gut health, that control your immune system. Your mitochondria is right in the middle of there controlling everything. Um, you know, there's so much that we've learned in the last 10, 15 years that you know science is exploding. It's exploding. And just like God said in the end times that it would. And I'm not afraid to say that out loud, right? I do believe that we're in the end times. I don't know how long we have. I don't know when Jesus is coming. I wish he'd come right now. Come on. Oh, no, he didn't. So, okay, that means we still got work to do, right? That means he wants us to get up and be as healthy as we possibly can and say yes to him every day, you know, or whatever he's asking us to do for that day. If we're in the middle of a flare, there's definitely things you can do when you're in the middle of a flare. You don't have to just lay there and take your big pharma. Okay. And you don't have to freak out and rush off to the next specialist or fire your doctor, right? There is so much more that you can do that you just don't know how to do. Okay. And that's why centers like mine exist. That's why God let me be alive right now, right? Is to be able to teach you this. This is my calling. I couldn't not do it if I tried. Trust me. There are times I get tired and I just, oh, can I just have a vacation for a couple of weeks? I'm tired. And then I'll be on vacation and what am I doing? Like telling people, well, here, that you can blah, blah, blah. And I'm teaching people while I'm on vacation, so I couldn't not do this if I tried. But bottom line, guys, you guys can take control. You do not have to stay stuck where you're at. The Lord is continually, always, always giving us strength, giving us new knowledge, giving us things that we need in order to grow. That's why we're here, right? Would you agree with that? That's why we're here. Okay? We're not here just to make money or just to, have our families or whatever, There's a purpose. There's always a purpose and it's always for our good. So even if God has got you going through some really bad health thing, it's probably to get your attention because he wants you to learn something, you know? And he is going to work your health condition out for good. Even if we don't understand what that is, it will be for good because that's his promise. All right. All right. And so we're at about 4 o'clock. Usually I like to wrap this up by about this time. So I want to make sure and let everybody go on their Sundays. And oh, Faye, what a beautiful way to end our meeting today. Faye says, purpose in the pain to bring you to the promise. That is so true, you guys. That is so true. And so before I let you go, I'm gonna give you those links one more. Oh, and I forgot. I need to give you a couple of things, you guys. I almost forgot to give you things. I say I'm gonna give you things. Okay. So this link that I just put in the chat that you can copy and paste, this link is just our basic document that talks about our clinic and the credentials of the people, um, my team and me, right? Just gives you all of that information. So you know who we are and you know that, this is a real thing. Um, then what I want to give you is I want to give you the Rise and Heal Challenge registration. That's the 3-day that you can do, and it comes with the whole program and the book and the protocol and everything that you need to get started right away on fixing your mitochondrial health, stopping that cell danger response. Oops. Wait a minute. That didn't work. Try that again. There we go. Okay. So this is our 3-day Rise and Heal challenge with the protocol and everything that you need to get started. That's just 27 bucks. So it's super, super cheap. And we do that on purpose to make sure that everybody can get the help we need, but we can still keep our doors open and keep our ministry running here, help as many people as possible. And then, if you're interested in more personalized care and you're ready to get started working one on one with us, figuring out what your root causes are, getting a personalized protocol, personalized plan of action, then you can start right here in our energy regeneration program. That's our low cost program that anyone can do. It's just $77 a month. And, there's no long term commitment or anything like that. You can come for a month, you can come for 6 months, come for as long as you need to. But we're going to help you to learn your root causes. We're going to give you a personalized protocol and really help you to make some changes with your health. Most of all, you're just going to get a lot of love and a lot of support, a lot of knowledge, and that's exactly what you need right now. Okay. And so, finally, before I let you go, I want to make sure that I give you guys that 7-day fast flare repair protocol. Okay. This is the protocol that I give away to everyone for free. It's simple, it's easy, it's basic, and it will stop a flare in its tracks. Okay. Might take a few days, but you will start to feel better. Okay. Oops, did it? Yeah, it did it. Okay. So that's the latest science. That's what you need in order to stop a flare. Okay. And so you guys can take that information, and I hope that it blessed you today. I hope that it was helpful to you. I would love to hear from you. If you have more questions, I'm going to go ahead and put our main number to the clinic. Oops, 460-4349. There we go. That's the main number to our clinic at the Cellular Healing and Longevity Center. And no, Lillian, you can't click on it. It won't let you click on it. What you have to do is you have to take your cursor and just like put it over that whole link, and then you go control C, or on your phone there's another way of doing it, but I don't know how. Anyway, like you copy it, right? And then once you copy the link, then you put it in your browser, and that's how you get that information. But Lillian, if you're the same Lillian that is already in your program, you don't need to do that because we've already given it to you. Okay. And if you can't find it, then just let us know, right? If you're a different Lillian, you can call us and we'll help you. We'll send it to you in an email, or we'll get it to you in another way so you can make sure and get it. Okay. I can never tell who's really on here or not because I can't see like pictures and things like that. So all right, everybody. Well, I want to let you go today. Go make it a great rest of your Sunday. Make sure that you're doing something to work on your health. Get some real help. Don't keep trying to do this on your own, throwing spaghetti at the wall, hitting your head against a brick wall, right? Because when you do that, you're just letting your inflammation continue. You're just, letting things get worse, and it just makes it harder to turn it around later on, right? Most of our clients that have come to us have said, "Wow, we wish we started with you sooner." I've had a few clients who, like, they followed me for years before they finally just took a leap of faith and just said, "Okay, I'm going to do something about this." Right. And most of those people will say that silly things stopped them from doing it. Fears and feelings of, well, I can't do this, or I don't want to change my diet, or, just silly things stopped them from doing the right thing for their health. So I just want to counsel you that, the Lord wants you to grow. He wants you to get better every single day. He wants you to be more Christ-like, right? He wants you to learn. And so if there's any fears, if there's a fear, it's Satan trying to stop you from doing something. Right? You just know it because, God doesn't work in fear like that. Satan does. That's how he does it. So the getting your health to a better place, getting started is so inexpensive, and really there shouldn't be anything stopping you from doing the right thing for your health and getting some real help, getting some real expert help from people who have been in your shoes, and we care. We do this cuz this is our calling, this is our ministry. So definitely, we're here for you. I'm gonna go ahead and let you guys go. You're welcome, sweet Faye. I love you. I love all you guys. Even if I haven't met you guys yet, I know you're here for a reason. I know the Lord brought you here in order to help you to hear the truth today. All right. So take what you've learned, pray about it, and we hope to hear from you. We hope to see you in our programs, and we'll talk to you real soon. Okay, everybody. Bye bye.